Hi guys, it's Hazel. Excuse me, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. This video is going to be different in that it is going to be sort of my thoughts on on taking part in my very first swap. And just by way of warning, there will be some gushing and some name dropping. I got to know, well, as much as anyone can know someone through videos and messages and posts and so on, Marnell from Mimi's Keepsakes. And so when she announced that she and Beth from Yes, I Made It Myself are doing a swap, my ears sort of perked up and I thought, well, I've never done a swap, but if I'm going to do one, I think I would like it to be my first one to be with Mimi, or one that Mimi has organized, simply because she seems extremely nice, very supportive, and has a lot of interesting content on her channel. So, and of course, I'd also seen Beth's channel as well, but of course, I've never had any direct contact with her. Anyway, long story short, I asked her a few questions through her email and was reassured and encouraged. She also suggested that, spring is a busy or summer's a busy time of year. Perhaps I'd be better off doing one in fall. We're farmers, and because I run a combine, I'm thinking, no, that'll be far worse. So plunge right in and do it. So, and I don't know, to be honest, what the typical timeline is for swaps. This one seemed pretty tight to me, but then I don't know. I'm just sort of saying what I think. Could be totally wrong about many things. Anyway, I was partnered with Dagmar. I'm going to say Leuenberger Swift. I live in Alberta. She lives in BC. So at least our projects weren't going to spend half their life, traversing the width of Canada. So I thought that was a good thing. So the first thing I did when I knew who my partner was sort of scoped her out. Looked for videos, and to be honest, she doesn't have many, but I subscribed, liked what I saw. I then checked her out on Instagram. Well, my goodness, this woman has something like 10,000 followers. So clearly, there's something that I can learn from her about Instagram. I guess I made a conscious decision, like I'm going to be mailing this today, the day that I'm filming this, to make sure that it does get to where it needs to be. Now, the additional little roadblock for me is that I live on a farm 5 miles from a village of fewer than, or about, I don't know, between 300 and 400 people. We do have a post office, but of course, it takes probably, it doesn't get to Edmonton, which would be the main thing, till the following day, and then whatever process happens after that. So I thought, well, I do need to go for some blood work, so maybe I should just mail it in a bigger center in a city and get it, cut down on some of the traveling time. Now, I started to say that I made a conscious decision, both in my note to Dagmar as well as my in this video, that I wasn't going to beat up on myself. And part of that is because of that whole perfection is evil thing, as well as we just need to create, we just need to do. But of course, because of the way my brain is hardwired, and my whole outlook on life all this time has been, yes, I can avoid beating myself up about anything, but that's not going to stop me from noticing and hopefully implementing the lessons I'm learning along the way. So, with that said, And Dagmar knows that she's not supposed to. Well, I won't post this video till after, obviously, we've each received our package from the other. So, now there weren't any specific rules or deadlines about what we had to do, how much we had to send. Frankly, postage is a factor. I have these padded envelopes, but I'm thinking this envelope, weighs something. Well, I don't know. I'll see. I've already addressed it to her, but we'll see. And maybe this will be another one of those life lessons. So I've included a note to her. I have, because the envelope is bigger than the actual project, I'm including some kind of oversized things. Now again, watching a few videos or looking at some Instagram posts do not tell me a great deal about another person. I mean, yes, there are clues there, but so it's basically thinking, let's send her some interesting stuff and hope she likes it, hope she can use it. So the first thing I've included here is the entire page from this 1920 newspaper out of Denver. So I'm thinking, well, who wouldn't love that? Then I also, and I don't know that I've done a video or showed anything about this, I also bid on an auction lot that included a lot of things from a physician in Alberta in the 1930s. So there were ledgers and so on. Anyway, there was this checkbook. The checks are all blank and they've got a stub. So I thought, well, this is cool, if only for the color. I also have, that I got for next to nothing, one of those albums that stamp collectors use. Well, I couldn't take the post apart, so I just ripped it out. This one is for Portugal. It's got some interesting stuff on both sides, so hopefully she likes that. I don't even know which way is up on this, to be honest. This could be, well, maybe those are, I guess those are probably page numbers. This apparently is like writing or text from India. This was a book that I took apart a long time ago, and I really liked it because of the color of the page. It appears to be weathered, or I mean aged, and sort of the scripty type font. I thought this was kind of interesting. It's a page out of a cookbook that was basically, well, I don't know if it was hand lettered or it certainly looks that way. So those things are heading off to her. I have a lot of napkins, and I actually have napkin bundles in my Etsy store. These are a couple of this design, and another one is something that I got recently. So I thought, well, they're cute and springy. Why don't I include that? And as it turns out, the colors are close to my actual project. This is a piece of fabric. I actually... this is part of a king-size sheet that I thrifted, and I like it because of obviously the fabric composition, as well as, it's a pretty neutral and I think versatile pattern. I received a Temu order, which I haven't done an unboxing video on yet, but one of the things I ordered were these tea bags, and this one has obviously been dyed with tea, and I thought, well, that's really cute because there are possibilities there. And then these are just some odds and ends from the project that I did. And I should say that the project is a slow-stitched pouch. Now, okay, so let's get to some of the lessons I've learned. I have like about 300, well, that's an exaggeration. I have a lot of scarves, and this, of course, is one of them. So you can see that it's pretty darn sheer, which is a good quality in a summer scarf. The pattern is lovely with flowers and butterflies and dragonflies and all that. In hindsight, this is not really a good fabric to work with. It frays something terrible, so that caused me a bit of grief. But there's that. This was, I think this might have been off a sheet or a sham or pillowcase or something. So this is just obviously part of the design. But you can see that there's something beginning to happen here with these colors. There's another piece of that. And then I thought, okay, I need something darker to ground it. So this is just some sort of a cotton. I also had this on my desk, which is another sheer thing. It was just a remnant that I got somewhere, but it picks up that color. So I thought, I'll throw that in the mix. But this, of course, is in the same category as this. It may be lovely, it may be summery, but it is a bugger to work with. Now, I didn't worry too much about the sheer because the base fabric that I was using was essentially white or very light. I also used some of this eyelet. And then this was a piece of lace that I had basically gotten discolored, not discolored, well, yeah, discolored, when I was using it for dyeing paper. So there's avocado color on here. I mean, not necessarily on every part of the piece, but there's avocado, there's beet juice, there's coffee, tea. So anyway, I'm including these little bitty pieces in case she needs to do something to that pouch that I've created, or wants to add on to it. Let's put it that way. Okay, so lessons learned. With slow stitching, pick a decent, firmly woven base fabric. So the fabric that I chose, it's too bad I don't think I have a piece within reach. It looked oh, here it is. It looked lovely. It feels lovely, but that loose weave is not also the greatest thing in the world to start out with, because it too frays very easily. So fabrics like this have a place in the world, of course, but a slow stitch project may not be the place. Just saying. Oh, so tucked into the pouch. Well, let me show you the pouch. Okay, there is the pouch. I think it's, well, let me grab my ruler. It is 11 by 5.5-ish. So it's a good size, and you can see it's going to take every bit of space in this envelope if I do choose to use that envelope. So this is the front, this is the back, but let me show you the contents and then I'll get more into detail about the project itself. Okay, so I included some more stuff. And again, what is this going to amount to postage-wise? No idea. Some raffle tickets, a paint chip, a couple playing cards, some wine labels, some different coat checks, a snippet that I made at some point. This is an envelope that I made with, what kind of paper was it? I don't know. This might have been wallpaper. I don't remember. And some napkin on it. And then some cute little book pages with numbers, as well as 12 by 11 or whatever piece of piano paper. And this is one of those bilingual dictionary pages. I also have these cute little cello bags, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's got these gold stars on them. Closed it with a bit of gold washi tape and just included some fibers there. So that's going in there as well. And then an airmail envelope, because that was within sight. And I had a bunch of tea bags that were drying just in the kitchen, so I just emptied them out, included some tea bags and their little hang tags. Is that a big treasure? I don't know. But I know I would appreciate. I'm going into this thinking I'm going to appreciate whatever it is I get. Oh, one other thing I want to say. For those of us in Canada, maybe I'll just put a finger over my address. There, when I first talked to my local postmistress, and I guess that is one advantage to having a small post office in that, she kind of knows everybody. Anyway, it had been suggested to me, and this is a couple of years ago, that I apply for, I don't know, small Canada Post Solutions for small business. So I do have a card, like a credit card type looking thing, that has my number on it. And basically, the premise is that a person can save on their postal needs as well as, okay, what are they saying here? Use the enclosed customer card every time you use Canada Post services. We will report repeat business with savings that automatically grow their blah, 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 blah. Now, whether or not I ever, use it enough to get anything, I guess is questionable. But anyway, okay, let's look at this. So I ended up lining it just because it would have hidden the backside, all the stitches. So here's the scarf, here's the scarf, there's some of that lace. I did these little embroidered pieces. I think there are 3 of them all together. Now this came off something like a hanky or something. Again, very sheer. So I think that, this looks summery and it looks, pretty good. But it wasn't that easy to work with, I must say. Another thing I learned is that when doing these sorts of things, overlap your fabrics more than you think you need, because I have a little bit of bulging, and maybe pin a little more. And I did do a lot of pinning, but probably not enough. Anyway, so I used Cantha stitch, seed stitch. I did some French knots. I used invisible stitch to attach it. This was kind of a piece that was a little bit too not lying as flat as it should have been, so I did some French knots there and there. Little seed stitch overlapped. Again, more of the same. So this is that sheer fabric. Where I had sheer stuff that was kind of, fraying, or I was having trouble controlling the edge, I tended to cover those areas with something just to add a little more stability to them. So I then, of course, added the lining. I think a person could maybe spend the rest of their life pulling at or trimming these loose threads. But who needs a hobby? We can just trim our pouches for the rest of our days. Anyway, I used a blanket stitch. Now, I love the blanket stitch, but luckily Marnell had a really clear close-up of how to get started, because of course that is always the hardest part. Now, I was using long pieces of thread, and I used 6-strand, but it also seemed to me that I had to join it the most inopportune places. Now, if anyone in the crowd is a perfectionist, you will know that this is not the same width. That eyelet is not exactly, here got that much showing, here it's almost. Anyway, I'm not going to beat myself up for that. Oh, I forgot that I need to put some kind of a tie around this. Good thing I'm talking to you guys about it. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about this. I think that I'm glad that I have my first swap sort of out of my system. I will be looking to take part in others, unless I have to declare bankruptcy after I mail this. And it'll be, again, lessons learned. And I think regardless, even if I did another swap, I have learned some basic things about the slow stitching project. Use a good, tightly woven base fabric. Overlap your squares sufficiently so that you don't have little gaps that you're then trying to deal with or hide. Maybe keep your sheer fabrics to a minimum. And because this was, say, this scarf thing here was, over white, it didn't alter what the scarf itself looked like. So I'm happy about that. And okay, yes, and what else? Okay, firm, tightly woven base fabric, overlap. Think hard about the type of fabric you use. I think the less it frays, the easier your life will be. And enjoy it. And hope for a really good swap partner. And really supportive and instructive and encouraging swap organizers. So anyway, that is it for today. I have to find a tie for this thing now, get all this stuff into the envelope, and head off to get it into the mail. So thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, if you get a chance to take part in a swap, even if, like me, everyone had to have their first swap, so just, gird your loins. Gird your loins, bear down, and take the leap. I think that I can definitely say it's been fun. Thanks so much for joining me. See you next time. Bye.